Check 1, 2. This is me testing my mic. By golly, I hope it's working because the timer says 20 seconds left. All right, welcome aboard. Here we are, back on the coding train. It is me. I'm back, baby. Seem to be doing this a lot, like streaming and then not for several months and then having a big thing where I'm back. So don't get too excited because I might just do this again in a couple of months. It's so nice to see all of you. I mean, I don't really get to see all of you, but I feel your presence there. If this is your first time tuning in, oh my goodness, welcome. Hi, my name is Dan, and you are watching The Coding Train. The Coding Train is a YouTube channel. It's as if I have a script in front of me, and yet I don't. I just have a view of myself with new glasses, by the way. I don't know if anyone noticed that I'm wearing new glasses. I have a new prescription, new progressive lenses. I've gotten quite a bit older since the last time you saw me, and my vision is really, I'm really struggling. Actually, I think that I might need a specific set of glasses for using the computer. I'm sure this is what everyone is interested in hearing about. Let me see if I'm just looking over this way because I've got my monitor to the left. I'm just looking at the chat to see that everybody is there. Yep. I have the supporter, member, whatever you want to call it, Discord chat right over here to my right. So I see Simon is typing ... Simon writes, "It is indeed a channel on the YouTube website on the internet." That is correct. All right, so what is the Coding Train? What is happening today? What is happening for the Coding Train in the future? I saw a few people in the chat just say, I just stopped in to say hello. Thank you. Hello. Should we try a different pair of glasses? We've got a few different pairs here. Let's try this pair. They're the same prescription. I just got two new pairs. This is the sort of new style. This is more like my old glasses. This is 1. This is 2. Oh, should we put a poll? How do I do a poll? I've got to come over here to this computer. Let's see. Start a poll. 1 or 2. 1 or 2. Ask your community. Okay, the poll is now running. I can't see the chat. This is 1. This is like everybody. This is the Coding Train. Welcome to the eye doctor. This is 1. This is 2. Now again, these aren't my old glasses. They're different, but they look much more like my old ones. I think I see better with these. They're the same prescription, just different glasses maker. This is 1. And this is 2. Okay, I think I'm seeing better with 2 right now. So it looks like 1 is kind of winning though in the poll. 1 is up to 52%. All right. Don't you have bifocals? Bifocals, asks Fishy. Bifocals, I have progressives, yes. And so what progressives do, if you don't know, again, this is clearly what everyone is tuning in for. Welcome to the coding train is when I look at through the top of my glasses, it's for distance. And when I look through the bottom, the lens progresses down for reading. If I don't have progressives, I cannot read at all. However, the computer to me is in the middle of those distances. It's kind of like not far, it's not close like reading. And so I feel like with my progressives, I'm having trouble like seeing the computer. I can pull it up here so you see what I'm looking at. Let's make sure everything's working. Yes. Oh, no. We don't. That's like the oldest. Do not go to that link that just showed by accident. Old sponsor link that was. I mean, you could go there. Sorry. I don't mean don't, but it's just no official connection anymore right now during this stream. I hate, by the way, when I have to make myself smaller that my hands get cut off. If I could redesign the studio, I would try to have like a really wide shot. That is actually what you're seeing, not just the camera shot shrunk down. All right. 2 is winning now. Boy, it's really close, though. The new style 1 is subtler. I prefer to stare over the top of my glasses in a judgy manner. Yes. All right. I made a list of things that I want to talk about today. Today is mostly going to be a update and hang out with the community stream. So if you were here for a specific coding tutorial, that's not necessarily going to happen. It's not going to happen. However, I will be updating you, just to get this out of the way real quick, on things like the Nature of Code book, where I will show some new examples and talk about them. So there is some learning that I have planned. I will also be talking about the ML5JS library and some updates about that. Oh, I want to talk about processing 4 and my updated tutorial series about that, making a note. I want to look at the Coding Train website and some new things that have appeared and look through some pull requests, merge them, look at some showcase projects. I want to talk about the memberships. Let me also get another thing out of the way here. And by the way, Simon says, I feel you've already redesigned the studio enough. I know, that's what I'm not going to. Just saying I could. Can I show it again? Yes, the poll is still there. This is 1. I actually prefer this style, I think, but right now these glasses are like a little smudged. So it's like a little blurry for me. This is 1. And this is 2. Let's go with 1, but let's see if we can clean them. I have some of those like lens cleaners somewhere in here, but I'm just going to use my t-shirt. Also, how do I look just without glasses? By the way, I cannot wink with this eye. My kids like to make fun of me because I cannot, like, this is me trying to wink with my right eye. Oh, it's been a long summer. Oh, I'm so happy to be back here live streaming. I mean, to be honest, I'm kind of tired. I'm old. I'm tired. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. But I think that one of the things that brings me tremendous joy is sharing my love and enthusiasm for what I like to now call artisanal handcrafted code with the world through YouTube. So let's do that. Okay, what was I saying? So I want to say something right off the bat, which is that I still can't tell the difference, says Walter. Thank you to everyone who supports the Coding Train, and especially now, given that you haven't seen anything new from me since May, I think, like the entire summer. And so, if that's not what you're happy, if you're not happy about that, please, it's fine. Like, you don't need to support the Coding Train. I'm doing my thing. But, if you want something different, this is not what I meant to say. What I meant to say is I've actually been working very hard. I've also been taking some time and kind of regrouping and lots of other stuff going on. But I have been working quite a bit on 2 projects that have that don't have a lot of visible progress. So those of you who are supporting the Coding Train by watching old videos, sharing videos on social media, some of you have signed up through YouTube membership or GitHub sponsorship. Maybe some of you signed up to Nebula, which is a streaming service for creators that I am a part of. All of those things I just appreciate so much, especially during this time where I'm not actively publishing new things. That support is really making it possible for me to have spent a lot of the summer working on these two larger projects that I'll talk about today. One is the Nature of Code book. Lots of updates about that, all good news. I feel like I didn't want to have a stream until I could really confidently say that I have made significant progress with the book, which is a lot of why I should let me stream this week. No, I don't really have a lot to say. I haven't really gotten over this hump yet. And then this, the Nature of Code. Many of you might be familiar with, although certainly I hope there's viewers who have never even heard of the project today, because then I get to show you about it, show about it to you, and then also. I have been working on a reboot of my Intro to Coding series with processing. It's a little over 5 hours of material. So, and the reason why, in olden times, my previous practice has been, as I'm working on it, publish new parts of it. So if it's 5 hours of video, maybe that's every video is 15 minutes. That's 5 times 4. That's 20 videos. Maybe I'm publishing 1 or 2 per week as I'm finishing them up. So this time I am going to publish it as one 5-hour long video on YouTube with time codes and annotations. We'll see how that goes. But that's why there's been kind of a dearth of stuff. Also, I'm just kind of, I don't know how I used to do it all. Teach, family, travel, coding train. I've been struggling. Just kind of balancing and juggling things and project management. I'm not very good at it. And so I hope that maybe this fall can be a bit of a reset button. Nature of Code project can be completed. The learning processing 5-hour video can be completed. I can go back to some of these other things on my list. All right. Also, the Apple episodes was a bit of a digression, but that was quite a while ago now. Looks like Glasses 2 is at 52%. All right. I'm seeing some nice comments in the chat. The project management, yes. Let's do something fun. This is totally random, but this is sitting in front of me. So let me switch to, it's going to be a live unboxing of a project called Time Since Launch. This is completely spontaneous right now because I just saw it. This is not planned, but okay. So I'm gonna tell you about this artwork that I have purchased. So first of all, let me shout out some friends of mine. I don't know. It's okay if they don't want to be friends with me. I just some people in an organization that I really admire, which is SFPC. Let's see, school. Let's see, let me find it. The School for Poetic Computation. No, this is the new website. Sorry about that. So no official anything here. I'm just, you can't see it. So let me go back to it. Wrong button. All right. So School for Poetic Computation is an experimental school in New York City supporting interdisciplinary study in art, code, hardware, and critical theory. It's a place for learning and unlearning. So first of all, I teach at a behemoth of essentially corporate university, NYU. There are many wonderful things about my job. First and foremost would be the students. I think that probably the worst thing about my job is the cost of tuition. And, we could get into, I could be here for all day talking about all the things in between. And so I really admire and want to support organizations that are experimenting in educational practices outside of the sort of corporate behemoth universities like NYU. And, there's obviously a lot more to schools around the world. There's state schools in the US, public universities. There are schools around the world that have different funding models, but I have this wonderful job that I'm very grateful for, that I really enjoy, but I also have conflicted feelings about it. That's not what I wanted to talk about today. The reason I have this is because SFPC did a fundraiser where there were different things you could buy. There was a coding train whistle in the shop. I don't know if you happen to be watching and happen to have purchased it. If so, say hi in the chat. And one of the things that I got is an artwork from some friends of mine and also alums of the program where I teach. CW. Let me see if I want to make sure I get the name right. Let's see if I can find their studio. Here we go. CWNT. And this is their project Time Since Launch. which you could get your own. I mean, I got it through a fundraiser. And it is, I'm going to read to you from the description. Time since launch is a single-use, long-scale launch clock. Use it to mark the beginning of your personal epoch. Wow, this feels like a very big deal right now that I'm doing this. Time since launch counts up to 1 million days. Like my 1 million random numbers book. And I would pull this book out. It's got the processing community catalog on it too, but it's holding up. It's holding up my iPad that I can see the Discord chat. And Joseph says, nice. I'm a fan of CWNT. By the way, if you're writing something in the member supporter chat, which I'll talk about when I get to the membership program, I might read it out loud. So if you don't want me to, for any reason, maybe don't put it there, or just like say like, please don't read this or something. Okay. Time since launch has marked thousands of moments around the world. It has been used to celebrate marriages, business launches, births, graduations, habit changes, career changes, or just to elevate an arbitrary Tuesday to awesome status. So this is more in the category of arbitrary Tuesday to awesome status. I guess I could have used it for like, I should have used it. So one thing is I should have used it. I recently turned 50. You know, I'm not asking for any like birthday wishes, but that felt like a big thing. And a lot of you might be thinking, geez, you're old. And yeah, although, you know, in some circles, that's young. Try being a faculty member at a large corporate university. 50, I'm like spring chicken. Ow, that hurt. Okay. Once launched, there is no reset option. Use caution when taking time since launch out of the box. Be wary of letting your kids or friends fiddle with it prior to launch. The batteries included last for 150 plus years. Backup capacitors temporarily keep time since launch counting during a battery change. At launch, your moment zero is forever burned into the electronics. I'm feeling really anxious about this right now. Oh my God. Yeah, by the way, if you're in the YouTube chat, you can write, please don't read this, but I'm going to read it. So the YouTube chat, you don't get to like, if you're typing in the YouTube chat, I might read it live. I mean, I don't mean to be aggressive. I mean this in the most friendly, loving way towards you. I can't possibly manage like somebody putting a private message in the public YouTube chat for this live stream that they don't want me to read loud. Most likely, I'm not going to see your message, to be honest. I mean, sometimes I'm a weirdo who sometimes will go back and look at the chat from a live stream because I'm curious to see if I missed something interesting. But for the most part, while I'm live streaming, I'm not able to follow the entire chat. I wanted to have, right, and it's 200,000 random numbers. It's 1 million random digits. Well, that's 1 million random numbers if the numbers are randomly 0 through 9, Simon. Okay. If something goes wrong with your time since launch, as long as the main chip is physically intact, your epoch can be restored. Okay. Storage. All right, there's a lot more information. Timesince-launch.com. Let's go to that. I feel like what better time to launch this than since I live streamed on the coding train on an arbitrary Saturday. There we go. Well, how do you do that heart thing? Is that a heart? Yeah, okay. Wait, I want to hit start. Oh no, this is just like, start. Oh, I see. You can make your own time since launch just on a website thingy. Order a physical copy. Right, so I have the physical version. So I'm going to unbox this now. I have not opened this. Maybe I will switch back to this view so you can see it a little bit better. I want to be very careful with this. How does it open? Oh, it's got like some very mechanically challenged. I have some slight arthritis in this finger, which makes it, by the way, my kids are now like basically teenagers. And it's an amazing thing that happens in life now. As you get older, and my kids are getting older, I need them to help me like open the jar. You know, it used to be me, Daddy, could you please open this for me? That's the little babies. And that was a little bit weird, that voice. They didn't sound like that. Okay, so I took off these. I'm going to be very careful. Oh, wow. This is beautiful. I don't know. Wow. Okay, so I don't know how well you can see this with the green screen. I'm going to go over here to the whiteboard. Oh dear, that camera is off. Why did that happen? Let's turn this camera on. It's possible that the battery, I just thought that I might be able to give you a better close-up look at it through this camera. There we go. Although I don't think this camera is on autofocus, so it's going to be very blurry. Look at me trying to like highlight this beautiful. I could change it to like autofocus, but if I stand back here, you can sort of see this is probably giving you a really nice view of how beautiful this is made. So, and I don't know if you can see, there is a one of those like 7-segment displays here, which I assume will show the counter once I get it started. Single use. So how do I start it? Let me come back here. Come back here. Okay. I could also, one thing I could do is well, this camera is autofocus. So I wonder if, let me see if I walk around here. I could also just show the raw view with the, there we go. This should work pretty well. I mean, the light is kind of shining, but now you're getting a nice view of it. You can see the batteries. It's absolutely beautifully constructed. I love it. Okay. All right, coming back around. So now we have to figure out how to open this, how to start it. Are there instructions? Single use. Help me! I don't know how to turn. I don't know how to work it. Okay. Let's see. Look at the box here. Single use. Are there instructions? Does anybody know? I mean, there's like this little sticker there. So I assume I take that off. It says single use. Do I take the top off? Do I turn this? I'm going to take off this label that says single use. I assume I'm supposed to take that off. Are there instructions online? Let me go back to here. Let's go. Okay, let's see. Oh, I can get a wall mount for it. I don't have a wall mount. Wow, this feels like, oh, pull the pin to initiate the timer. Got it. Pull the pin. There it is. Look, here's a little video. Okay. Everybody ready for this? Okay, ready? By the way, I have, if you're wondering what's going on here, some of you might remember that I was in a bicycle accident a bunch of years ago, and I have multiple surgeries on my elbow. So in case you're wondering what's going on with my elbow. Okay. Okay, here we go. Oh, drum roll. Good idea. Ah! I did it! It's so cool! Look! It's counting! Can you see it? By the way, darkest time down in history! You were here for this moment! That is so cool. So I'm just going to consider that this is marking the time of my first live stream since turning 50. That'll make that like a thing. It's okay. All right. There we go. Orion Sendin, you were here. Alka, it's so nice to see you in the chat. Like old friends, I mean, a lot of you that I've never met in person, but I consider you old friends of people who have been sort of following me and participating in live streams for many, many years. I will work on fixing this up later. Look at this pin. It's like, there, I'm gonna put it back in. And I'm gonna just, I'm gonna put this, if I put it here, can you watch it during the stream? Yeah, so now you can, oh, so this will, by the way, this would be a nice thing to always have on during my like streams or videos, maybe to mark time. Okay, so let's put this off to the side. All right, let's get back to some of the business at hand because, so I'm gonna be here no longer than noon. I would love to finish sooner. It's my last weekend before the semester starts. Now you might be saying like, you could have streamed all summer. What's wrong with you streaming on the last weekend before school starts? Sorry, I was working on these two big projects, which I will talk about today. All right, let's come back to here and let's start digging into some of these things. I think I can probably turn off the poll now. Yeah, oh, Bartosz is a young man of 46. Okay. How do I end this poll? End poll. Because, all right, so let me get the chat back up here. Sorry for my arm disappearing. Okay. All right, so we've covered the glasses. Put this over here. All right, so I haven't done anything on my list because I did a whole thing about the time since launch. So I'll put that on my list and check it off. Time since launch, and then future plans. So I'm checking one thing off my list. Okay, so things that I have. Well, maybe let's start with the coding. You know, the title of this video says Nature of Code, or this live stream, so maybe I should start with that. How do people feel about me just starting right off the bat with Nature of Code? Maybe that makes the most sense. Harshi, I am so glad you are here too. Harshi says, so glad to be here. And Simon says, classic Dan, spends the first 30 minutes of the stream not talking about anything on the list. By the way, again, I think I meant to say this. If any of you are in the member chat on Discord, which I have over here, and you see a meaningful or interesting question in the YouTube chat that I maybe miss or don't see, which will be most of them, please copy paste it with the YouTube person's name into the Discord chat. Progress. Let's hear about it. Okay. So first, a little bit of history here. Let's start off here. So this is, if you, I expect that if you search online for Nature of Code, the first thing that's going to come up is this web page right here. So this is the active, live, published version of the Nature of Code book. The Nature of Code is a project, I mean, in some ways I would say I started it in 2002. But so like 22 years ago or 21 years ago, however the math is. But I didn't, the first time I think that I ever called it the Nature of Code, because I'm talking about my learning journey, really started in 2002. But the first time I might ever called it Nature of Code was 2008. Maybe it was 2006, somewhere in there when I taught a class called Nature of Code. And one of the things, I don't want to, I'll be here all day if I go through everything, but one of the things I would encourage you to read if you want the full story is this acknowledgments section, which talks about the class that I took in spring 2003. So maybe that's the date that I should have given 20 years ago. A class taught by James II called Dynamic Bodies. There's some other references and a little bit of the history in this acknowledgments. So then in 2012, and by the way, this link goes to nowhere. Buy from CreateSpace. Where does it take you now? Yeah, it's CreateSpace is now Kindle Direct. Amazon bought them. So in 2012, the material that I had been accumulating over many years teaching this class, I put into a book. The book was self-published. It's available right now. I don't suggest, please don't buy it right now. Please wait. But I mean, if you can't help, I mean, you can buy it twice, whatever you want. But if you can't help it, of course you could. It is available through. I originally self-published it through a company called CreateSpace. After a number of years, Amazon acquired that company, so essentially it's self-published through Amazon, which I do not love, which is one of the reasons why I'm making a big change with Nature of Code 2. It's not called Nature of Code 2; it's just Nature of Code again. I don't know what to call it. Anyway. So it's self-published and for free online. So you can read it. This is the original version of the book. The examples are all processing code. So you'll see this like Java syntax. If you don't know what processing is, well, boy, do I have a whole video series for you that's about to come out. But and so probably, I don't know, anywhere in the last 5 to 7 years, it's like, I'm going to make a new version of the book. So many people sent me good feedback. In particular, this neural networks chapter, I can't even bear to read some of this stuff. It's so out of date and weird and not in line with the world of machine learning and neural networks today. So I was slowly, inch by inch, updating the book over many years. And at some point I was like, I got to get it done. And then I wasted another year, and then I really got to get it done. I wasted another year. Then I had a sabbatical, and I'm like, I'm really going to get it done. And I made some progress, actually, over the sabbatical. Quite a bit of progress, but I didn't finish. And so it's been a struggle to try to do Coding Train and work on this project in parallel. And so this summer, at a certain point, without any fanfare or announcement, I just kind of made a mental decision, you know what? No Coding Train. I'm not allowed to do any live streams, make any videos until I have finished a final draft of the Nature of Code second edition. So I don't want to call it the second edition because I don't know what to call it. Of the new Nature of Code. And so I'm here. Also, I think we can use this to mark the occasion. I would have liked to have maybe marked its publishing or something, because I'm not here to say it's done. It's not done. There's a lot of work left for me to do. But what I am here to say to you is I have written an entire, every single chapter now has a finished draft. So there is an entire first draft, and most of the chapters are essentially done. But the reason why I say that is I'm still doing some editing and updating some examples. There's some placeholder illustrations. Only thing left to do is go back and fill the gaps and fix things and edit. So the announcement here today is that there is a full version that you can read online today of the new Nature of Code. And if you're reading it online today, you still have the opportunity to provide feedback and help towards the final version that will go into the print version of the book. Now, I have also another, even more, not anymore, in parallel, also exciting announcement. Where does this go? It goes here. To make. Ji-Sun Lee is in the chat. Okay, great. So Ji-Sun, thank you, Kathy, who wrote this, who transferred this comment over. I remember your Nature of Code class in 2006. Ji-Sun, first of all, Ji-Sun, wonderful student from IP that I've kept in touch with over the years. I'm so thrilled that you're in the chat. I didn't see your message, but thank you, Kathy, for transferring that over. Do you recall, it was 2000, when you took the class in 2006, was that the first time I taught it? That would match my memory, but I'd have to go back and look and see in NYU records if there was an earlier version of the class. I definitely taught it very early on. My first class I ever taught at NYU was, I have this thing that I'm standing on because it helps my back. It got old. And it just slid away and I was standing on the hard floor. I'm barefoot, see, wearing shorts. Summer, there we go. Okay, ooh, that also hurt. What was I even talking about? The first class I ever taught at NYU was 2004. So 2006 would be about right. It was 2007. 2007. Okay. Okay. Anyway, so let me show you the new draft. So right now it is on, let me go to GitHub. So if you're looking for where everything is, I was going to talk about the print version. Sorry. Let me talk about the print version. I'm thrilled to announce that I am partnering with No Starch Press, which is a wonderful. I do have a misspelling of my name though. I guess I better let them know. No C in Schiffman. I mean, there are other people. That would be a very a normal way to spell the name. For whatever reason, when my ancestors, that makes them sound like that was a long time ago, but not even more than like, in the when would the Schiffmans have come through? I think in the early 20th century. First of all, I can't believe talking about the 20th century like it was so long ago. Like I graduated from college in the 20th century. But anyway, for whatever reason, when the names got transcribed at Ellis Island, no C was put in my version of Schiffman, which means boatman, by the way, from the German, as from what I understand. Anyway, that's not what I'm here. I am here to tell you that The Nature of Code book, the print version, will be available through No Starch Press. So first of all, just to be very clear, nothing has changed in terms of the licensing of the book. It is still open source, Creative Commons, non-commercial. So that means it is freely available, the entire thing, under the Creative Commons license. The only restriction is you can't print and sell your own version of the book. So you can't use it for commercial purposes. I mean, you can use that doesn't go for the code examples and the concepts. The code examples are MIT license or whatever kind of much more permissive license I would choose to use, so that if you use one of the code examples in an artwork or a commercial project at a place where you're working, that of course is allowed. I just mean the content of the book is not something that you can resell. But in order to have, one is, first of all, No Starch is fantastic to work with. I think the primary reason why I'm actually getting it done, because they assigned an editor to the project, they're doing technical review, they've given me a deadline. Like the deadline actually for everything else that I need to do is October 1st. So I don't, even the draft is done of all the chapters, but I do need, and everything else has to be done by October 1st. So this is happening. And the print book will be available in print in 2024. This is something you could do today to support the project if you want. You can order it. Now, one thing I'll just say, I'm thrilled for people to order the early access ebook if you want to support the project that way. I don't see a strong, me personally, I wouldn't do that. Because I'm only paying for it if I really want to have the print version, because to be honest, the ebook is available for free online right now. I mean, it's not as like a PDF document that you would have to pay for it through here. Although if you are, what's the word I'm looking for, where somebody is good at figuring things out. If you are, come on, someone help me with this word. This is what happens when you get old. I can't pull out words I used to use all the time. Not ambitious. If you're, somebody will help me with this word. I don't know why I can't think of it. This is driving me crazy. Teaching Interactive will say, I'm teaching physics using P5JS at a university in southern Chile, thanks to you. Amazing. I hope this book is a helpful resource. I hope that once this gets done, we can do translations of it. So especially if you are somebody who speaks another language, and is interested in helping to publish a translation of the book in another country, in another language, don't get in touch right now with me. Get in touch with me after October 1st. Not tech savvy, not eager, not ingenious. There's a word I'm looking for. Intent. No, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't exist. I should have. Technically inclined. No, you're, okay, somebody will get it. The link to pre-order is nostarch.com/nature-code. It's right up here. I'll put all these links will end up in the chat. So, but certainly if you want to pre-order the print book, go ahead. It's going to be longer than 536 pages, by the way. That last chapter 10, which I think I need to break into 2 chapters, got very long. Bored, frugal, no. I want to say God, this is going to drive me. Where is it? Written by Coding Train YouTube star. I'm a star, baby. Also, misspelling of my name. Learn from an expert. I'm an expert and a star. These are not ways that I would ever refer to myself, but I'm fine. You got to sell books somehow. So this is happening. Placeholder cover, pragmatic, industrious, resourceful. Yes. resourceful, I think, is what I'm looking for. If you're resourceful, yes, that's the word I think I was looking for. The print paperback on Amazon right now, Entertainment, is the, let's see. It might actually be available for pre-order on Amazon. Let's take a look. I don't know how this works just yet. So this version is the 2012 version. You know, if you purchase it, it's not a total loss in the sense that I receive royalties from it, so you're supporting me. The book content is still, I would say, most of it, a lot of it is the same, or it would be valuable. But I certainly would suggest don't buy it. Now the question is, can we find? Well, so maybe somebody who's resourceful, to just use that word over and over again, can find if there is a pre-order on Amazon for the new version, but at present it might only be available through No Starch. I don't know about international. So Joseph is actually asking about international. I mean, No Starch certainly distributes their book internationally. State, province, country, I see no reason why not. All of the countries are here. Hello to Tomas. Ji Sun Lee, I hope to get a chance to translate the New Nature Code book into Korean. Yes, let's talk about that. I would love that. But again, I can't even allow myself to think about that till I'm done. So now, so I talked about how you could pre-order it. Now, everything for the book currently is in this GitHub repo. So actually, the entire content, the entire drafts of text of everything is just here in these like HTML files. And you can also find information around how the book is organized. I'm using Notion, which is something I would like to do some videos about at some point. I follow Thomas Frank, who is like the world's leading expert on Notion. I would love to do a collaboration about how I've done this book publishing with Notion, or just be inspired by him. You can actually build the PDF yourself. If you're resourceful and want to try running, you might be missing a few things. Like I am using a licensed font for the PDF, so that font is not in the repo. So when you build the PDF, it might be a different font. But what's more important for me to show you is if you see this link right here, will take you to, and I know it says second edition. I think I'm not supposed to say second edition. It's just like I don't know how it's going to work, but this is the current draft of the book. And I believe if I click this buy this book, it'll take you to the pre-order page. So this is the link right here. I'm sorry for its sort of clunkiness, that you should all, eventually this will just be at natureofcode.com, but until it's finished, it's going to live at this preview link. And thank you, Alka, for putting it here in the chat. Okay. All right. So a couple things that I'll point out. One is what I called the introduction in the previous book is now chapter 0, randomness. If you could come up with a better title for that, I'm open to changing it because, I don't know what the title of that should be. I could also just call it numbers, but that didn't really seem to work. I'm going to just you can see here the book design. So Jason Gao, who I'll shout out, who's an alum of ITP, who has been working on this project with me for probably over a year now. And many other people have contributed that I'm not mentioning here as well. And I'll try to, as I remember, mention everybody, but has worked on this whole build process. So this is the current website design. The website I'm kind of not as worried about right now because I have the rest of my life, however long I live, counting through time, I can work on refining and improving the website, but the PDF, the print version, has to get locked in, in the next month or so. But if you scroll through, you'll see this design of the book. You'll see the code is now JavaScript. I plan to maintain processing versions of all the examples so you can read the book. And in a fantasy land, I might have a little button here that I could just click a button and it has the book in processing. But I don't have time to implement that right now. You can see that the examples are running right here on the page, and then you can click this button that takes you right to the example in the P5 web editor, look at the code, run it there. So that's a wonderful, there's new illustrations that Xana Marsh is working on. And yeah, so I could keep going through this, but you can basically see what the book looks like. Let me click through the chapters. Vectors is pretty much the same as the first edition, just with updates and improvements. Forces, pretty much the same, updates and improvements. Oscillation, pretty much the same, updates and improvements. Particle systems, pretty much the same, updates and improvements. I mean, there's been significant work on each of these chapters. I don't mean to minimize that, but I want to get to where there's much more substantial changes. Autonomous agents, pretty much the same. I would say that this last section has some new examples. One of the things, actually, if somebody wants to work on, Jason is working on all this stuff. So if you really wanted to work on this, please open an issue so that there's not redundant work. But some of these examples run very slow on the page, not because they actually run slow, but because the web page loads many examples. So there's many canvases all running on this page, so they run very slow. There is, I believe, lazy loading, meaning that the sketches don't load until you scroll to them. But once I've scrolled all the way to the bottom, they don't unload further up, so things start to run quite slow. So if anyone wants to help with optimizing that lazy loading, that's something that I'm looking for help with. Yes, new cover art, Joseph. I've yet to figure out who's doing that and how I'm doing that. I have a lot of different people who work on coding train illustrations, who work on the book illustrations, book design. So I have somebody who did the original cover design, so I have to figure that out. But yeah, so that's one sort of major issue with the book. But you can see there's a new section on the quad tree example. I'm referencing a lot of coding train videos, a new sine and cosine lookup table example. So there's a bunch of new things in all the chapters. I'm just highlighting here in Autonomous Agents. Now, physics libraries. This chapter has had a major rewrite because the original version of the book, if I go to here and go to physics libraries, is mostly about a physics library called Box2D, which is wonderful. Physics library that I would encourage everyone to continue to use. It's just quite involved and a little tricky to use in JavaScript. So I have been using more recently a JavaScript library called matter.js, which is now the sort of base library for this chapter. I also am still using ToxicLibs, which is in the chapter. And then I also want to give a major shout out here to, let's see if I can find it, P5. Yes. So I also, if I'm being completely honest here, and thank you to Quentin, who I believe I owe some emails or Discord messages back to, who's been very patient with me. P5 Play is an incredible library for P5 specifically that was initiated by Paolo Pedicini and is currently led by Quentin Ashley. One of the huge things that Quentin has done, from the way I understand it, with P5 Play is added rigid body collisions, all built on top of Box2D. So in many ways, I think you could make a really, really strong case for why this whole chapter should just be written in P5 Play. But there's just not the state of play, if you will, of where I was when working on this. So Quentin has been very generous in answering my questions and porting all of the examples that are in this chapter to P5 Play. So I also wanted to mention P5 Play, and when the book gets finished and released, expect to be able to see through Quentin's hard work a version of all the examples with P5 Play. Okay, so this chapter is about the physics libraries. Cellular automata is a chapter. Fractals is a chapter. Evolutionary computing is a chapter. I'm just looking at the time here. We're already at almost 11 o'clock, and I'm only on item number 1 on my list. So I got to move through some things here. There's a need for intersection observers. Sleeping and waking them would be really nice. Yeah, lots of things. Okay, neural networks. This chapter is where I have spent the most amount of time just in the last couple months. So this chapter is almost a complete rewrite. And I'm going to just go through the table of contents for it. If we have time, I wanted to demo some of the examples. When I get to ML5, that's what I'll do. Because the examples are now using the ML5 library. I will demo those examples when I get to that on my list. So let's go through the table of contents. First section is just about the sort of background and history of artificial neural networks. I start code-wise with making a perceptron. So for me, sometimes something that I really like to do is go back to the origin of an algorithm that's used today in really large scale and complicated ways. So for me, like if you're, just to pull out an example out of thin air, if you're using ChatGPT, the text generated through ChatGPT is coming from a large language model, which is a transformer architecture of a massive neural network of many, many neurons and connections and all sorts of sophisticated learning and activation algorithms that is the result of, now what is, I can't do the math, close to 70 years of research, and probably longer if I'm probably getting that wrong. But to understand it, to me, I like to go all the way back to what is the unit, the single foundational element inside of these large-scale systems. And that is a neuron. And in 1957, at the Cornell Aeronautical Laboratory, the perceptron, the idea of a perceptron, the simplest neural network, one neuron with inputs and outputs, that was that history of that research can be traced back to that work. And so the code example goes through how to build and the theory and practice of a single perceptron. So that's a large portion of the chapter. And it finishes with this example that looks at classifying dots in a two-dimensional space above or below a line using a perceptron. Okay. So Walnuts asks, I'm hesitating to answer your question here, but Walnuts asks, why are the libraries ending with 5? P5, ML5? Anybody know? I know the answer. Let's see if somebody knows and can answer it in the chat. But then I'll answer it if nobody knows. Okay, but I'm going to keep going here. Then I go into a little bit of theory about why a single perceptron can't do very much, and the concept behind a multi-layered perceptron. But then this is where I make a huge skip forward. So I go in the chapter, I go through the theory and algorithm behind the sort of like nuts and bolts, the base foundation of what a neural network is. But then I jump to ML5, which is a machine learning library, which has neural networks baked into it. So I could just say, make a new neural network, give it this data, train it, look at the output. So that's where the chapter pivots. And I go through and I explain classification and regression. I look at the sort of the idea of MNIST in neural networks. So these are all placeholder illustrations, as you can see. So if you have ideas or thoughts about, and this is borrowed from Gene Kogan's material just as a sort of reference point for when I actually do the work with Xana to create the illustrations. You can see my like chicken scratch here. So I go through code, and one of the first example I make is a simple gesture classifier. Okay. Oh, I love a wire reference. Well, thank you for the wire reference. Processing so first of all, no. There's some definite misconceptions here in the chat, which I want to correct. Processing is an active project. It's funny that you would think like that's interesting to make that theory like, oh, there's processing 4 and P5. No, that's just a coincidence that processing happens to be on version 4 and P5 is only on version 1.7. So there's the version numbers and then there's the actual name. So far nobody's gotten it. Let's see. Chapter 10 is not available in the early access PDF, Jason, but that's going to be remedied like on Monday. So that will be remedied. I finished the draft like literally like 2 days ago, so I haven't generated the PDF and given it to No Starch yet. Not HTML5, although that's interesting. It's going to be a while. Somebody's going to get this. So Joseph's got it in the Discord. So and Christian Wittmann, which I really work hard to pronounce his name, but I never do it right, asks, any plans on including stuff about ChatGPT in the book? So I mention generative AI and new architectures and make the connection to those concepts and those modern techniques, but I'm not going through that in detail in the book. I do have plans to do more educational materials around generative AI and transformer models and working with ML5. But for the Nature of Code book, you'll see I'm kind of limited in scope. Okay, so Joseph has got it in. So Joseph wins the Coding Train sticker or whatever. I mean, it's not actually, nobody wins anything. I'm just saying, Alka's now got it, but I'll wait for it to come from somebody in the YouTube chat. We'll see. All right, so I look at building machine learning model, and this is the example all the way through where it's trains model. You can see like, also this computer, this is not my current laptop. This is my old 2019 MacBook Pro. I still just use it as like now it's just like permanently sitting on this desk for live streaming. It's also struggling, I think, here to run some of these things. But okay, so here's the gesture classifier. So it already ran, but basically I can make a gesture and it classifies it. And we can see like if I do this, it got right, like how much down. So I want to make a point here, which is that of course you don't need neural networks to do this. You could just like use some if statements and some math to evaluate like which way, what angle is the heading of the vector. But I like to have an example that's very obvious and trivial so that you can see all the steps so that you could do something more complex. And that's like what some of the exercises are here. So the exercise here, which I hope to make a solution for, is, my gesture is just a start point and an end point. But what if it is a sequence of points? What if I could have like a figure 8 gesture versus a circle gesture and that kind of thing, start classifying shapes. So, and what if I use the hand pose model? So there's that. Now, here's the thing that I would love to hear feedback from. All right, so Karen got it. Coded design program being launched at your school, Stig. That's wonderful. So I'd love to hear more about that. I still have a shout out to Stig in the audience, who was one of the organizers of Processing Community Day in Copenhagen. By the way, there's a PCD Taiwan that's happening, I think the first week. PCD, by the way, is Processing Community Day, which is something that anybody can run one of their own. It's a way of organizing an event for your community around processing and creative coding. And in case you're wondering what's in the box, it is a authentic Danish train whistle from the 1950s, I believe. Lovely little sound there. But I wanted to say that there's PCD Taiwan is happening. I don't know the exact date, but I think I'm speaking remotely. I won't be in Taiwan just for like 10 or 15 minutes. So tune in for that. Next time I'll be appearing online. Oh, I also wanted to mention I was on a podcast recently about AI. So let me come back to that. I'm making a note here. All right. So currently it's chapter 10. And in chapter 10, I make a pivot to the concept of reinforcement learning, and specifically neuroevolution, which is like a twist on reinforcement learning. It's really long. I think it's about, in the print PDF, I think it's about 70 pages right now. So I'm curious, any of you who just are looking through this today or anytime in the next few days, love to hear from you. I think this should be 2 chapters. It was originally supposed to be 2 chapters, but I was having such writer's block and it was such a mental hurdle to get this thing done that I was like, let me just make it 1 chapter and I'll add something about neuroevolution on the end. But then once I went to do that, my neuroevolution section became really quite long. So I think maybe now I can go back, now that I've written the draft, and break it into 2 chapters. But I'd love to hear about that from you. One thing that I'm struggling with, which also suggestions would be great. And by the way, if you're wondering, like, how do you give me these suggestions? Join the Coding Train Discord. Yes, neuroevolution, and Kay Weekbond is making a very good point. Neuroevolution is not really reinforcement learning, and I would love for you to read this over, and I make that point and make a transition to it. But I would love to any feedback you have about if I did that, in an accurate way. The book is having a technical review process, which people are being paid. One person is being paid to read over it, but I welcome additional technical review. I don't want to take advantage of people's generosity and time, but certainly feedback as well. Okay. Oh, point 0, you made the January 2023 pull request. I did. I'm sorry about that. I'm not good at managing this stuff. Can you tag me in Discord and maybe we can chat about this? I just gotta remember to go back and look at that. Okay, so this is probably gonna get broken out into a separate chapter. One thing that I'm struggling with is I have like this ecosystem project at the end of every chapter prompt, and it makes a lot of sense what to put at the end of the neuroevolution section. But if I don't get to neuroevolution, I don't know what to put here. But anyway, the counter thingy was initialized. Yes, you can see it over here right now, but I guess the light makes it so you can't read the time. Maybe now you can see it. Okay. So going through, these are placeholders. The actual, we'll have new illustrations made for the book. But I go through the game Flappy Bird. I talk about evaluating the game Flappy Bird in terms of features, like the position of the bird, its velocity, its distance to the next pipe, the location of the pipes. And then I look at how a neural network can use those features to decide whether to flap its wings or not. I look at how you can do that in ML5, and then build a neuroevolution example. So first of all, I just create the Flappy Bird clone, which I'm going to attempt to play here, clicking the mouse. It's running so slow. So this is me playing it by clicking the mouse. And then I go through how to do it with neuroevolution and all the ML5 stuff. It's a lot of stuff here. And then you'll see here, this is neuroevolution. So I'm seeing comments in the chat, and I'm not able to answer all of them. So sorry about that. So, right, I do not go into, so Demonique is asking a question about the specifics of reinforcement learning. I don't get into it into the book. Ah! Okay. Oh my goodness. My iPad with this chat. Okay. I would love to, just like, I realized in life I can't do it all. This like system I have for like trying to hold this iPad in place is not really working very well. All right. Then I'm just going to get through this quickly. Then I look back. Smart rockets is one of the examples in chapter 9 for genetic algorithms, and I make a neural network version of it. And then I'm really excited about, then I do a neuroevolution steering example. There's a lot of examples. There's a cat here. I talk about sensors. I look at how to like build sensors into a like a little creature that can like, that these sensors light up when it gets close to another shape. And then I kind of have this final example where I can speed up time here, and these agents evolve to learn to effectively use their sensors to find and eat this food. So let's see if I can run this for a little while. Well, sometimes they all die out. And I did something to the example which didn't make it in yet, where you can add more, but I can just reset. So I'm still fine-tuning the parameters of this. So I think they're all going to die out again. It's funny. Of course, I'm having bad luck here while streaming. Maybe this one is going to live. Come and clone yourself. You're doing so well. Just clone yourself. Yes. Yes. Okay. That was great. So it made a lot of them, and they're really quite good now. So I can slow this back down. You can see that basically they use their sensors to be able to detect the food, and they stay on the food eating till it's gone, and then they wander around. But they've learned this behavior essentially through the process of neuroevolution. So this is like when I first thought about the nature of code in like 2006 or whatever, this is kind of the example that I was dreaming of making. And I finally got through finishing this chapter and have it here. So I love neuroevolution. I should also shout out David Ha, who is a, let me go here to his website, otoro.net, who has done a ton of work I mean, this is like a huge inspiration to me. Let's see, blog machine learning projects. I think you can find here, a lot of all the papers on, you can see how similar a lot of these are to what I'm doing. You can see directly like inspiration coming from here, hardware accelerated neuroevolution. So if you want to go even further into this stuff, you can look at David Ha's work as well. Okay. So that's really just about everything I have to say in Nature of Code. Oh, one important thing here, 11:10, geez. 50 minutes here for the rest of my list. But the main topic I wanted to talk about was Nature of Code. So first of all, if you are teaching this fall and want to use the new Nature of Code, please be in touch. You don't need to be in touch because it's just there, but I would love to hear from you. And then, if you're teaching in the spring and using the Nature of Code, maybe you could order the book for your university or school bookstore. Just saying. Okay. Then, okay. I think I'm wrapping this up. Oh yeah, I remember what I want to say. So let's say, here's an important thing. Let's say you're reading the book and you have a comment you want to make, a suggestion. So first of all, proceed with some level of understanding that I'm really trying to get this done. And I've put blood, sweat, tears over many, many years into this. I've dragged it out more than I could ever possibly drag it out. So I don't want to say taking shortcuts, but the kill your darlings, I think is it Hemingway or Allen Ginsberg, whoever made that phrase. I'm having to kill my darlings, which is a phrase that sort of means like, sure, it would be great to include more about reinforcement learning in the book, or use a different physics library in chapter 6, or include an additional example. I just can't do that. So if you have, so what I'm looking for is more feedback about parts that are especially confusing, things that are really clear mistakes in terms of like how I'm describing the math and physics concepts, and typos and that kind of thing. You can probably ignore like things like, oh, the figure number is wrong. I mean, eventually at some point I need that feedback, but it's in copy editing and that kind of stuff hasn't gone. But unfortunately right now you cannot pull request fixes, even though the content is in here, and you could make a pull request to this HTML file that is like all of the content of chapter 3, but this is actually coming from Notion. So this is an automated process where these HTML files are built from Notion pages that I'm writing into. So your best path for offering suggestions or corrections is to open an issue. And my preference would be that you open, it sounds like individual issues for different comments. So rather than like, here's one issue with like 100 comments about the book. I mean, again, you're giving up your time to do this. So if that's the way you want to do it, that's like, I'm not going to stop you. But for me, it's easier to then see the issue, go and make the fix manually in Notion myself, and then close the issue. And it's just project management wise, helps me keep track of the book. So I just wanted to make that clear to anybody watching. Okay. All right. So let me answer the question about the fives. So processing, when it originally was invented, the URL processing was not available. So it was called processing with two fives. And I believe if you go to that URL, it will still take you to the current processing website. So processifying was kind of was an alternate name for processing. It was often written that way. So P5 used the 5 from the original processing as an homage to processing. So that's where the 5 comes from. And ML5, the 5 is there just to say that this library is meant to be used with P5. Okay, Simon, yeah, the moving left thing is related to the way that I'm initializing the neural network weights. And I could do something to get around that, but in the end, they kind of like learn how to move backwards. They still tend to like have a moving to the left trajectory, but I couldn't figure out an elegant way to talk about that and fix that in the book. Maybe if I add to chapter 11, yeah. So that's yeah. Okay. MB Lab. Yeah, is asking about. Sorry, first of all, I haven't taken a break and I'm talking continuously. I need a moment to breathe while I think about the next topic. Okay. All right. I'm going to go right down on my list and talk about Coding Train website and the membership program. Any questions about? Oh yeah. So I have I would love to make a new series all about Git and version control. High priority on my list of things to go back and do again. Realistically, when I would get to it, I don't know. Some things about the old videos are still useful and apply. They're quite out of date, but you could try it. And yeah, I would love to do that. And Interactive all says it was helpful to them in the last week, so that's nice to hear. But yeah, rebooting old things is what I'm doing. And my first priority was learning to code with processing. I think my second priority is updating some old P5 tutorials. And then probably my third would either be the ML5 videos or GitHub, Git and GitHub. Those would be kind of, but you know, I'm slow to get to things these days. Okay, so let's talk about the Coding Train website. So this is not new anymore. Created and designed by Design Systems International, put together by so many people from the community. So I took a little break to pause there, and I just realized, like, wow, I'm tired. I'm exhausted from all this energy and excitement about nature of code. And now that I finished going through that, I'm feeling a little bit like, tired. Okay. So Coding Train website. So if you're brand new to the channel, this is your place to start. This is where those tracks that I've been referencing of like, oh, you want to learn to code from scratch? Here's a P5.js track. You want to learn a little bit more about Git and GitHub for Poets? Sorry, if you want to learn about, I just called it that because it's trying to be non-technical, and we use a poem. I use a poem as the sort of like canonical example tracing through. But this is the one that's kind of old and out of date. I mean, look at that beautiful young face there and those glasses. Woo! There's like no gray in that beard. Amazing. Oh, memories like the corner of my mind. Okay, I got a little dizzy singing there. Okay. So this is your place to get started. Now, most people come to find the Coding Train through the challenges. The challenges are single videos where I work through a particular project. A lot of them are mathematical algorithms that I am attempting to visualize. You know, probably like a prime example of that is something like the heart curve. And if you look at that, you'll find the video. This one's in 2 parts, so there's 2 parts, timestamps, the code examples here. So I can click here and I can find the code example, which is right there. And then, the pièce de résistance I don't know if that's the appropriate use of that term, of the website, the Passenger Showcase. So the Passenger Showcase is the place where you can submit, and thank you to Kathy, who I see has some submissions here, who has been doing a lot of work in helping to curate the showcase, where you can submit your own versions. So I'm going through this quickly because I can get now to the showcase page. And the showcase page, and by the way, is where you'll see all of the projects in reverse chronological order. So we can look, and the idea of the coding train, Raphael de Corville does an amazing job of this with his weekly creative coding challenges and streaming every week and looking at everybody's work. I aspire to be like that. I haven't been able to keep up with it. I would like to, if I can get back into the habit of live streaming more often, every week, go through some recent submissions, but I'll just do that now. We can see here's one from Tamaki, Pana Go Around by Tamaki Komatsuzaki, which I guess is this, I don't know if this is like a known character or a creation of an original character, but you can see, if I had to guess, this is maybe from like my polar coordinates video. Let's see. 3.6 graphing sine wave. So we can go here, we can see, this is the video that this project was made with, and you can see it's the only showcase project with that video. Now, the thing that's really exciting, that's new, and a huge thanks to Deepam, who, if I'm missing somebody, apologies, but I think Deepam did the bulk of this work. And Deepam, remind me if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. If I go to the guides, and I want to talk about the membership guide, this is something brand new also. If I go to the Passenger Showcase guide, this is the submission form where you can submit a project. Now you can submit your project through GitHub with a pull request. And Kathy noted to me that it's a little confusing how to do that, and I should spend some time going over how to do that. But I might have to cut that for time. Yeah. Thanks for reminding me. We'll play this song in the background. Is it really loud? I'm going to say once again, here we go. Sing it with me. It's the forward. So I really messed that up because it's the forward Cartesian coordinates song. Okay, just enjoy this for a moment. Auto-tune and the internet will fix that for me. All right. Sing it with me. It's the forward. All right. Thanks for that reminder. Where was I? So one of the things, the last time you might have looked at this, if you haven't looked at it in a while, you could only submit showcase projects for the coding challenges through the website. You could otherwise do it through a pull request in a somewhat convoluted process. And I need to update the tutorial for how to do that to clarify that process. But now you can actually pick which track you want your project to go with. So for example, there are some videos, this is left unfinished because I'm focusing on the writing. Someday I'll get back to it. For example, if I go to Nature of Code, this will now populate with all of the Nature of Code videos. So if I have made a project based on the Arrive steering video, then this is where I can submit it. Title of the project, URL, an image, your name, your website. Your email is optional, and I don't believe I'm not storing it anywhere. I think. I have to fact check this, but I am, it gets used to link to your GitHub account so you can get, because this automates a pull request. So if you put in your email associated with a GitHub account in that field, then you will get tagged as the creator of those commits on GitHub. And then social media handles are nice because, again, I haven't kept up with this. Katie Chan, who runs Coding Train social media accounts currently, we'll get back in the habit of this, hopefully, but we like to tag people on social media about their Passenger Showcase submissions. Okay, so that is so I think, Kathy, I'm sorry, I know you mention this. There is some information about how you can do this process through a pull request, but it's changed a little bit. Let me see if part of me is I don't even know how this works, but let's look. I think the challenge is finding where the file goes. So on the website, under videos maybe? Yeah, I think so for example, I think if you wanted to do it through a pull request and you're doing nature code, and I forgot what one I said, but and you have to find the video. Yeah, so it's just tricky. You just have to find the path of where the markdown file for the video is, which can be a little bit tricky. It requires a little bit of detective work. It requires you to be resourceful. Today's word of Coding Train is brought to you by today's word of the day, resourceful. Did it pop up here? And was there an animation and a sound effect? No? I guess it only happens when I hire people to do that in post-production. Okay. So this is where you would want to put that manually. You just have to create the JSON file and an image file. So I kind of went over it, but I glossed over it. Okay, let's get to the next. Give me a second here. Oh, I totally forgot. Can you bear with me for a second here? Polar coordinate. Let's play a different song. Perlin Noise song.
So this is random.
Oh, that's very loud.
Perlin noise, that is. In the core random algorithm, the actual random algorithm itself, those numbers aren't related at all. You pick, I'm picking random numbers between 0 and 10.
Give me a moment.
2, 7, 6, 1, 9, 4, 8, 9, 2, 1, 3. I pick 9 a lot, apparently. But with Perlin noise, I might pick numbers like this. 2, 3, 4.
I had some
3,
slides
4,
to show
5,
you,
6,
and
5,
I don't
4,
have them
5,
downloaded
6,
on this
7,
computer.
5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7.
I have
8,
them
9,
available
8,
in Discord.
7, 6. Well, this is Perlin
I'm
noise
opening Discord now,
art.
but it's updating it.
7, 6, 1, 9, 4, 8, 9.
I could read random numbers, but
3. I pick 9 a lot. 2, 3, 4.
The issue is how to add the add the showcase folder.
Perlin noise
So
performance art. 7, 5.
Kathy is clarifying for me something really important, which is, I'll just say it, which is that if you want to add a showcase project for a video that doesn't have any that are part of it already, then you have to create that showcase folder, which is a little bit tricky. But just get in touch, tag me or tag Station Manager maybe, or Engineer on Discord, which are people who can help answer your questions about how to do this stuff. Okay, Discord. Now I have to log in. Is it going to give me a QR code? Yes. So just bear with me one more minute. Log in. I'm in. I gotta look for my direct messages here, and just give me a second. Oh, I should have done this in advance. I'm so sorry, everybody. This is probably not worth it, but I'm going to do it anyway. Yeah, you can listen to the song again.
2, 7, 6, 1, 9, 4, 8. But with Perlin noise, I might pick numbers like this. 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 5. Perlin noise, that is. Perlin noise. So this is Perlin noise, that is.
I'm now realizing.
This is Perlin noise, that is. Perlin noise. So this is Perlin noise, that is. Perlin noise. Perlin noise, that is. Perlin noise. So this is Perlin noise, that is. Perlin noise. This is Perlin noise, that is. Perlin noise. So this is Perlin noise, that is. Perlin noise. Perlin noise, that is. Perlin noise. So this is Perlin noise, that is. Perlin noise. This is Perlin noise, that is. Perlin noise. So this is Perlin noise, that is. Perlin noise. Perlin noise, that is. Perlin noise. This is Perlin noise, that is. Perlin noise. This is Perlin noise, that is. Perlin noise. So this is Perlin noise, that is. Perlin noise. Apparently. But with Perlin noise, I might pick numbers like this. 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 5, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Okay.
5, 4, 5, 6.
I'm back to you. There we go. All right. So the other thing that is new on the website that I wanted to talk about is Coding Train for lack of a better term, membership or support. So this is always tricky for me to talk about or think about. Coding Train is not, I'm not a full-time Coding Train YouTuber person. I do not rely on crowdfunding and other sort of revenue from ads for my primary source of income. I have a full-time job with benefits at New York University, so I really hesitate to ask people to support the Coding Train. That said, I spend a tremendous amount of time on the Coding Train, and at any given time, there are anywhere between like 2 and 10 people working on projects that I hire to do things like animation, video editing. On the Nature of Code book, I've been investing a lot of funds into for illustrations. I will hopefully recoup a lot of that through royalties from the book, but it's all out of pocket right now. Building the website, doing design. So those of you who want to or are able to support the Coding Train, it helps. So, and I kind of, honestly, like I try to budget to basically break even. And sometimes I come out a little bit ahead. Sometimes I come out a little bit under. I'm trying to get better at accounting. So I actually just hired a bookkeeper. So that's where some of the funds go to as well. But I have not done a great job at keeping up with the benefits and perks and rewards, if you will, of subscribing to various things like GitHub sponsorships and YouTube memberships. So over this summer, I've been meeting with Katie Chan, who helps run the social media accounts, and Jason Hegland, who designs a lot of the logos and makes a lot of the like stickers and things like that. And we have worked to streamline and consolidate and clarify the ways that you can support the Coding Train and what types of things you get access to for doing so. So I want to just kind of go through a little bit of that right now. If you'll indulge me, does it interest you? You click away, you put me in the background, whatever, it's fine. So hopefully this will just take a few minutes. On the website, there is now under guides, this membership guide, which hopefully explains all of this. And then I'm going to show you these images that Katie worked on that'll go on Instagram. I've tried to use as many train puns as possible in here. So please enjoy that. I cannot confirm or deny the use of any AI large language models to help me brainstorm fun train puns. But where am I going here? Membership. Okay. So let's go through these. Okay, membership announcement. And not as exciting as you might think, but still pretty exciting. Okay. Oh my God, my computer's so slow. What are the changes? So the main thing is I'm only going to have like 2 levels. There's different ways, buying the Nature of Code book is a way of supporting the Coding Train. I know that there's like super chats and all sorts of other things. And I would say also donating to the Processing Foundation is another way to support the work that I'm doing. It's, indirectly, I suppose, or maybe in a way that's sort of like more needed. Like I always say, like if you're going to support one or the other, like support the Processing Foundation. But I try to simplify, and so there's only like 2 levels. So if you have, I'm thinking of 2 levels. So passenger or conductor. So most platforms have $5 a month or $10 a month. And I'm trying to streamline what the rewards are. So for the $5 a month passengers, it's access to unlock some Discord channels. It is a public open Discord server, but there are some member-only channels. The rewards, I used to do them piecemeal. So when somebody signs up, I would send them a sticker pack and I would get behind. And those of you who were owed the train whistles, like waited like 2 years to get them, those have been sent out. So now the way it's going to work is once a year, I'm going to send out a Coding Train sticker pack to everybody. So for every year that you're a member once a year, I'm going to post a form in Discord, tag everybody, post, communicate on all the platforms. So I'm not collecting people's addresses and information when they sign up. once a year, I'm going to say, hey, if you're a member and you want the sticker pack, enter your information into this form. It's all going to go out. That mailing will probably go out by the end of September. That's a goal. We've ordered all the stickers. So now is a good time to sign up, because if you sign up, you're gonna get that sticker pack pretty soon. If you've been a member for 5 years, you're gonna get it. If you've been a member for 1 year, you're gonna get it. Everybody gets a sticker pack who signs up. And I decided to give out stickers for free to people in person and at events and things when I can. Obviously, I would love, in an ideal world, I would just mail stickers to everybody, but that's not realistic. Okay, and then I haven't done these in quite a while, but sometimes when I'm recording videos that I'm not doing as part of a live stream, there'll be behind the scenes and Q&A sessions for smaller groups. So those are the main perks. But in the end, what I'm saying is, do not sign up for these. I'm trying to give these out, but sign up only if you feel like you have the capacity and want to. Yeah. And then the only thing different is I'm able to like produce more than just stickers if you sign up for a little bit more. So I think we're doing, I guess I don't know if it's meant to be a surprise or not, but I'm doing a I don't know what to call it, I actually don't even know what it is, but it's a special, more like physical enamel pin, like lanyard type thing with like and a lanyard, coding train lanyard thing. That might be like a train ticket design. Like try to do something special every year, like this custom laser etched train whistle for the $10 a month. Okay, great. I don't want to belabor this too much. So existing members, nothing changes. But hopefully this is good news, because you're going to get something every year. Wrote some more about why. Mostly the thing that I want to say is, like, if you feel like, hey, I signed up a while ago and I never even got, if you have any questions about this, this is your email address that you can write to. And now the sort of ways you can support. So I've decided to take the approach of like, I'm just going to like offer up whatever platforms exist. Some platforms have specific things that you get for that specific platform. Honestly, my favorite one at present is GitHub sponsors. So if you go to github.com Coding Train, I think there is a sponsor button here, which has these levels that you can, and the reason why is that GitHub takes, I think, the least amount of fees from it. And it seems like a nice system. But YouTube membership might be the one you want, because if I post anything that's like a members only video on YouTube, or you get the badges and things, gee, suddenly just, well, I have to do my old thing. How did I do this? I used to do this in the live stream. Ji-Sun Lee, you have just climbed aboard the passenger car of the Coding Train. Welcome! For your membership, you get not much. You get a little badge, a little dot, a little purple dot next to your name. If this wasn't all like very, if I could manage to do this, I might like pull this out and read you a random number. But all that stuff. Thank you for joining. So these are the platforms that exist. You can look at them. There's links to them. I also want to mention that Nebula, I have more to say about Nebula, because when I get to my processing updates, there's a question, which one gives you the most money? I think it's GitHub sponsors. I think GitHub sponsors I don't know if they still have this promotion. For a while, they weren't taking any fees and they were matching. I don't think they're doing that anymore. That was like when they first started GitHub sponsors. Yeah. But I'm going to talk, Nebula is another way of supporting the Coding Train that is really incredible, and you get a lot of stuff. Nebula is an incredible streaming service that is part of, there's a new company, independent streaming, independent creators. It has a show called Jetlag that I'm obsessed with. So many amazing channels that I could name that are on the Nebula platform, and you can sign up. And so that is a way of supporting the Coding Train. I don't at present have all of these things linked. honestly, if you asked me to choose what I think you should do, I would say sign up for Nebula through my link. I might not get the most money from that, but that's my most favorite way for people to support the coding train, because I'm really excited about Nebula and want to do more with Nebula. But I will be talking about soon a way, I will be posting my processing video series on Nebula as an exclusive first. So if that's something you're really interested in and want to look at it in advance of it going to YouTube, Nebula is something you want to sign up for. And when it's ready, I'll talk more about that in a live stream. Okay. Oh, on GitHub, organizations have a 6% fee. So what do individuals have? Because I switched over to an organization from an individual. But 6% is, I mean, YouTube takes 30%, I think. I think it's 30%. That's a lot more than 6%. Okay. All right. And then all the details are here at thecodingtrain.com/membership. Okay. Oh, Deepam. Okay, great. Back to one thing. So that's about the membership stuff. That's all I want to say about that. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer, but I don't want to spend too much time on that. It's not my priority. Okay, I want to go back to the guides and go to the passenger showcase guide. Oh no, I want to go to the tracks. So let's go into code program with P5. And I believe like shapes and drawing maybe has a bunch of passenger showcase. Oh no, how does it not have any passenger showcase projects? Color maybe? Interesting. I guess these beginner projects, it's sort of new that you could do this. Although let's look at random. Yeah, random has a bunch of passenger showcase projects. So one of the things that I didn't realize, thank you to Deepam, who pointed this out, is if I click submit to the showcase here, first of all, don't you love that the buttons cycle through when you hover over them? They like cycle through like all sorts of different colors. Yeah, look at that. It's like cycling through rainbow colors. I love that so much. Okay, so if I click on this, it auto-populates! 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 That makes me so happy. Okay. Coding Train website, membership, showcase. All right, I have to get back to my family and the weekend in about 15 minutes. Things left on my list. Some of these are like things that I can mention in just a minute. Maybe I'll go through those. And then come back to ML5 towards the end. Oh, great. 0%. 0% on GitHub sponsors. That's very helpful. 0% fee. But honestly, like to me, the membership program is more about building community. I mean, sure, like why give $1.50 to Google when the $1.50 could go to me, I suppose. But if you really enjoy having the sort of perks and features on the YouTube membership stuff, you should feel free to do that. Okay. All right, now, what do I want to do? So let me come back to ML5. I'm thinking about what I want to. Okay. All right. Let's talk about. I don't know if anyone's watching. Okay. You know, maybe I should do ML5. I'm going back to what I said. Maybe I should look at ML5 right now, and then I'll just go through quick things at the end. Okay. Let's do that. Okay. So what's happening with the ML5 project? So I've worked on a lot of different open source projects over the years, most notably processing, and then working on helping to start the Processing Foundation. These days, my focus in terms of the actual open source work that I'm doing is mostly on this project. And the reason that is, well, first, the Processing Foundation has expanded, and there's a lot of people working on P5 and processing now, and lots of announcements and things to come there. But for me, I have, this is something that I'm actively working on for my teaching at NYU. I'm able to apply for funding and work with NYU students to build out this library. So that's become kind of my research, if you will, work while at my day job at NYU, the ML5 project. It also is tied to that chapter 10 of Nature of Code. So I've been investing a lot of time over the summer in this project. So there's lots of announcements about ML5 to come. I'm not going to really necessarily get into everything, but what I wanted to point out to you is if you go to the GitHub, you might notice that there is this repo called ML5 Next Gen. So proceed with caution. This is not ready for prime time. There's no release of this that's ready and documented. If you are teaching with ML5 and you have class next week, nothing has changed for you. But if you want to take a sneak peek and poke around and follow what's going on, this is the repo for you. So let's just see. I don't know how far I'm going to get with this. I've been working on this a ton, but on my work laptop, not on this streaming laptop. So I don't know what's going to happen when I try to run this. But let's first, what version of Node am I running? 17.3. So that might be a problem. Do I have NVM? Yes. So I want to use NVM. So NVM, by the way, if you are a beginner programmer or you just kind of wandered in here from who knows where, I'm about to do some stuff that's a little bit beyond probably where you are in your journey. So feel free to follow along, but be aware, I have, and I can help if you join the Discord or you ask some questions. The community will hopefully help answer what's going on here. But essentially, just as a reminder, if you go to thecodingtrain.com and get started with code, those would be where some of the beginner tutorials, which would ramp you up towards the sort of place where I am right now. But right now, I'm going to do something which is high degree of difficulty, which is attempt to follow some instructions about how to build an open source library and see if I can run it in a testing way. So NVM is a particular tool that stands for Node Version Manager. Node is a way of running JavaScript code sort of on your computer and developing web applications and different things, outside of P5 and the world of the web, or client-side, the world of the web browser, I should say. So if you want to try to follow along here, the first thing you would need to do is install NVM. I'm skipping that step. Then I would need to go to a terminal and make sure I have the correct version of Node that's compatible with ML5. Let's try doing that. And I wouldn't be surprised if I don't get all the way through with this, but let's see if an error comes up. Okay. So now, and I think it's having me use that version. So if I type Node version, I'm actually already using that version. So I don't even need to say use 18, but I could do that. I'm still in 18. Okay, now the next thing I need to do is install a global package. -G is for global called Yarn. What is Yarn? Yarn is a thing that you use to crochet. But here in my artisanal handcrafted code, I think I'm going to rebrand the coding train to artisanal handcrafted coding train. Yarn is what is known as a package manager. And if you've used a package manager before, you probably used NPM because that's Node Package Manager. But Yarn is a different one that's maybe a little more recent, new. I mean, it's probably not that new anymore. People love it. And there are some aspects of ML5 that require Yarn. So I'm install Yarn. Okay, did that work? So now I should be able to say, so now I need to clone this repo. Hopefully that's going to work. So I'm going to grab, and by the way, you can use GitHub Desktop. I'm finding that more and more people are using GitHub Desktop. Maybe I should do some tutorials with GitHub Desktop. There's a GitHub command line interface, etc. But I'm using this particular way of authenticating into my account when working with GitHub. But you probably, if you're going to be following exactly what I'm doing, you're not an owner of ML5, so you probably need to use this particular URL. This will only work if you own or have access to ML5. And so I'm going to say git clone the next gen repo. Okay, so now if I look at the desktop, I should have a folder called ML5 Next Gen, and it's got a lot of stuff in it. So I want to cd change directory there, and then I can go. And by the way, this is not something anybody needs to do when working with ML5. This is a process for developing ML5 and would be required now if you want to test the new version, but soon won't be. So I'm going to run this command yarn. Is that just the generic yarn install? I don't have to say install. I guess so. Yeah. So now this is installing all of the other dependencies and things. So ML5 library depends on all these other packages and things. So now the working on a project with JavaScript with the Node ecosystem is entering into a world of a million different libraries and dependencies and packages and functionalities. And as you can see, one of the things that's getting installed is all this TensorFlow stuff. So TensorFlow is Google's open source machine learning library that ML5 is, most of ML5 is built on top of. Okay. So now I should be able to say yarn start, and it's going to build the library, run a web server, and open up a web page, open up a web page, open up a web page of the current examples. So, oh, did I not merge? Oh, Shiftman. Okay, so it's okay. I'm gonna show you something even more crazy in a moment. But let's just start here. So first of all, you can run any of these examples. So I'm going to show you an example that I made recently with the new ML5. And this is, by the way, this model was created and brought in by Peter Lin. And let's see if this works. So look at this. By the way, okay, if you're like me and you're an old timer and you were learning creative coding in like 2001 and somebody said as your homework assignment, make a graphics application that tracks your index and thumb and draws a circle where they are, I mean, you would have spent the next full year of your life trying to figure that out. Now we just have in the web browser, on the internet. It's running a machine learning model that makes a prediction about your hand that draws something in real time at like 60 frames per second. Like, this is insane, the world we live in. And by the way, now here's an exercise for you. Can you make it so that it shows two of them? Could you make it so that I can throw one? So many possibilities here. So just to be clear, this is using a hand pose model. And the hand pose model gets all of these points for both hands. Look at that. That's amazing. But that simple example shows you a little bit more easily how to do it. So this is coming soon. There's an example that shows how to do it with a single image. I think that's Bomani's hand. Bomani did a ton of work on the ML5 project for a number of years. Thank you to Bomani. And more examples. Now, can't remember if the pose detection is a new model. I don't have time to get into everything about this. Okay. So now, what do I want to do? Okay, so here's something else I got to do. I'm going to hit Control C here, and I'm going to say git fetch, because my neural network examples that I was demonstrating to you as part of the nature of code are part of ML5, but they're in a different branch. So I think if I type git branch, come on, isn't that going to fetch me all the branches? Do I have to say like verbose or something? No. Anyway, well, let me look on the ML5. Pull requests. It's this pull request, the neuroevolution one that I'm working on. That's the branch name. Okay, I don't know why git fetch didn't bring all the branches in. Somebody can probably tell me, but it switched me to the neuroevolution branch, and I can pull down all of the code for that. Maybe because I already fetched, it was up to date. I have no idea. But now I'm going to run yarn start again. I'm rebuilding the library, but from the branch. And what is a branch? Well, my GitHub video series actually does go through that, but it's essentially my like parallel track version of the library that I'm working on. And when I'm finished, it's happening, it's a branch because it's like, here's the ML5 project and it's going that way. And I'm going to branch off for a little while to work on my own neuroevolution examples. And when I'm done, I'm going to merge that branch back into the ML5 project. But now we should see, yes, we should see more neuroevolution examples, like the neuroevolution steering example. And let's just run this one for a little bit. What you'll see here is a neural network is learning to calculate a steering force to follow this dot that's moving with a Perlin noise random walk. So this slider just speeds up time so that I can run through many, many, many generations. You know, I've done 22 generations now. If I slow it back down, you know, you can see that the most of the agents are much better at following the dot. Now, one of the things you might be wondering here is like, wow, it looks like they're kind of doing a bad job. And to some extent they are. You know, it might get better over time. I'm sure I could tweak different properties and parameters to improve it. But my goal with these examples is not actually to have these agents do a perfect job of following this dot. I want them to appear lifelike and have this sort of like improvisational sort of quality to how they move and feel really alive. So, so that's kind of the goal of these examples. And you'll see here the neuroevolution steering example. Oh, not the steering, which sensors example, which is the one that I was going over. This has some more, it's a little bit further along than the nature of code one. It has a restart button. So if it runs out, you can restart. Let's see if we can get some good ones going. We can get lucky. Yeah. So this one, by the way, you'll see doesn't have generations because in this one, so one of the things that, I mean, this again merits a longer discussion and I'm running out of time here. Oh, what, 2 minutes left? But I'll probably run a little bit over as I always do. In all of my other evolutionary examples, the entire population lives for a fixed period of time, and then I start over anew. What this one is doing is, welcome, Toothless XD. You have successfully interrupted me mid-thought, mid-stream, talking about this coding example, and joined the coding train. Welcome aboard. Thank you for your support. The song goes on. Oh, Gray, thank you. Thank you, Gray DHD. Thank you for the really kind comments. That is very sweet, and I really appreciate the support. Okay, so what's happening here is these agents die out slowly over time, unless they're able to eat the food. If they eat the food, it boosts their health back up, which you can see based on their size. So as they die, they fade out and get smaller. And then every moment in time, there's a chance they have to reproduce. Now, I could do something where as they come into contact with each other, they reproduce and make a little baby creature. And, oh, that should be the exercise. And they could even like sense each other, and that could be part of what they have to learn to do, both eat the food and mate. But that's not what's happening right now. They're just like a probability factor, a very low probability that they'll clone themselves with some mutations. And one of the things that I'm really trying to do with this is figure out how to strike a balance. So I'm going to hit restart. I'm going to hit restart. And, you know, the amount of food is fixed whenever they finish, and here they die out. So in a lot of cases, like, they just don't randomly mutate their neurons and find enough food, and they all die out. But after I run this a few times, you know, I will often find that one or two of them start to really do well, at finding the food and then reproduce themselves a bunch of times. And then we get the situation of overpopulation. But at some point, there's a limited amount of food, so that overpopulation should balance itself out. So that's one of the things I'm really interested in. It's not something that I've captured perfectly. And Jason Stevens, I have to reply to your email. I was thrilled to receive your email. Jason Stevens. Wow, the ITP alums are showing out in full force today. Jason Stevens, also a former student in an earlier incarnation of the Nature of Code. Wonderful artist in his own right. Please check out their work. And thanks. So it's nice to, I'm sorry I haven't replied to your email. I'm not good at that. But I'm good at. It was really cool to. I read the whole thing. I should just reply and say, I read the whole thing. It's so cool. I'll say more later. But I'm doing it now. Okay, but you can see how the population has exploded, and it's kind of running pretty slow. But it won't explode much more than this because at a certain point there's a limited amount of resources. What I was saying is, I want you, the viewer of this channel, the person learning, to, if you feel so inclined, read the entire Nature of Code book. You don't have to. You read the parts of it that you're interested in, whatever. I want you to try to make your own version of this and think about how to, basically code the universe into this. So what can you do to expand beyond what I'm doing here? I would love that. I'd be so excited to see that. Okay. All right, ML5. That's all I got to say about ML5. Stay tuned for more about that. All right, let me run through some quick things. In the fall, I will be teaching at NYU ITP programming from A to Z. Let's see. That is the class I am teaching. If you want to follow along a bit, there should be a new. It's not. I haven't done any work on this at all, other than post it. There should be. This is so unnecessary for me to show. I should have just mentioned this. Anyway, there's a syllabus that I'm working on for this class. One of the main things about this class, there is another new member. There's another new member I think that just joined that I missed. With a little dot, little dot. Thank you, new member with a little dot. I'll look and figure out who that is later. It's a course about programming with text, not a beginner course. Maybe that was a bad name for it, but Discord bot examples are going to get updated, and if I can get my act together this fall, I will be recording new Discord bot tutorials. So stay tuned for that. The Oregon Trail project. Let's see if I can get this to come up. I spelled Oregon wrong. Sorry for that. GitHub. It's on GitHub. Oh, there it is. It probably was the first one. This is a project I still really want to do. And I noticed that there was a pull request. Oh, wait. Is there another repo for this? Because I got some pull request notifications very recently. And I don't see them here. Did they get merged? 2 days ago. Oh, it was closed? I don't know. I'm confused. But I saw some, maybe this was an issue that was open. Yeah, this was. Anyway, I still want to work on this. I haven't had any time to get back to it. I don't know when I will. If anybody wants to help maintain this repo and push it forward, file an issue and raise your hand. But I don't imagine that interests anybody as much as it does me. Okay, so I wanted to mention that. Come back to processing. Okay. So I don't know how to give you a sneak peek of this. Hold on. I will. I'm going to give you a sneak peek. Let me just go back to here. I'm going back into my Discord. Generate.collective. Generate.collective. Thank you. You have climbed aboard the coding train, and you will be seeing, where did I share this? I shared it in the main Discord. Oh, okay, hold on. Sorry, I'm trying to get to my Discord. Oh, Jack, I see your message in Discord. I will try to work. Let's try to figure out a way to get you the book. Jack is writing that in Iran, there's no way to buy the book. There's no access to global payment and shipping. Let's sidebar when I'm done with the book. Sidebar, is that a word? My brain is melted. Let's wait till I'm done with the book, but then get in touch with me. I would love to send you one myself if I can, if it comes to that. Let's see if we can figure that out. No one should be locked out of the nature of code if they want. So if you're not in the Discord, this is what you're missing. Me. So this is a screenshot of the video series that is coming out. It's about 5 hours of material. There's the table of contents. It is a celebration of the new Processing 4 that I know that Ben Fry and Sam Pottinger and lots of other people, Raphael de Courville, have put in a lot of time and effort to. And so I wanted to, when all that work has been happening over the last year, I'm way behind. I wanted to have this out when Processing 4 was released. Clearly that didn't happen, but this new set of tutorials. So if you are a teacher of beginners who is using processing for your curriculum or in any context, this will replace what is currently on, sorry, hold on. On YouTube here. So these are the versions of, I basically made new versions of all of these videos that I made like over 10 years ago, as you can see by the change in hair color. But otherwise I'm kind of the same. Maybe in 10 years, can we do another one of these where I'm like over here? I'm sure someone could use some generative AI to age me and just keep making that. Maybe you could go backwards, Benjamin Button style. Okay. So I wanted to mention that's coming out. But that will be, just so you know, my plan is go nebula.tv/coding train. My plan is to first publish those videos on the Nebula streaming platform. So there's a few reasons for that. One is it's a good way for me to promote Nebula and generate some revenue for the channel by having people sign up for Nebula as part of the launch of that new series. Also, when I upload something to YouTube, I can't ever make any changes. So Nebula is a platform that I am part of the creator community that owns and operates Nebula. And I'm not going to redo the video in any significant way, but if, it's 5 hours of material, I think there are going to be small mistakes and things in it. So if I upload it to Nebula and people are watching and learning from there, and I find little mistakes and things, I can correct those and replace the video file on Nebula. So I want to have like a few weeks to be able to do that and then upload it to YouTube. Now, Nebula is a paywall. You won't be able to see, so you could sign up now if you want, but I'll be promoting this when the video is ready. I also, by the way, have some exclusive content like this other course about coding with the Apple II. And, there's so much wonderful other stuff on Nebula. So, what was I going to say? If you are a teacher and you want to be able to use this video series with your students this fall, and, there's no way for you to like have your students like buy, I'm not asking you to tell your students to buy Nebula. That would be, that wouldn't be appropriate, I don't think. So get in touch with me, maybe help@thecodingtrain.com, because I'm also happy to allow a preview access of the video series to students in different contexts. But it won't be that long. The whole thing's going to be on YouTube and available for free. Okay. So that's what I wanted to say about that. So I'm gonna check that off. Let me mention something just because I was on a podcast recently, so I'd like to plug it. Let me see. postshowrecaps.com/strike, I think. Well, that's just the RSS feed. So this is the RSS feed. Well, that's really helpful. Let's just go to postshowrecaps.com. So Post Show Recaps is a podcast network of podcast about television and different things. And they cover all sorts of different shows. I'm just like a fan and a listener. And you may remember me from the podcast about Severance, when I was a guest on it a couple times. And I made all these different projects related to the Apple TV Plus show Severance. But they are also doing a podcast series about, the current writers' strike. The entertainment strike, the SAG-AFTRA strike, the WGA strike. I'm just looking for a page that has, it's called Strike Up something. Strike Up the podcast. Strike Up the Conversation. There it is. So there's a feed for Strike Up the Conversation, which is postshowrecaps.com/strike. But I was a guest. And I guess if I keep going down through this, you'll see we talked about sort of generative AI with the host, Dr. Amanda, who is doing an incredible job. So I'm plugging this because I was on it, but not really for you to listen to the episode with me. I don't know if I said anything that useful or interesting about AI, mostly because when I was asked to be on the podcast, I started listening to the previous episodes, and they're really incredible and interesting with great guests. Michael Chernus is one that I'll highlight. Let's see if I can find it. Who is an actor who is in, I think, Spider-Man movies and Severance, and really talked about the right. It must be a way for me to filter this by only, I think, a terrible job. But you can also go to twitter.com. Does twitter.com still work? Dr. Amanda R, I think, is Dr. Amanda's social media, where you will find, weird. Twitter does this thing, if you're not logged in, it doesn't show you their actual tweets. It's just showing me other stuff. Anyway, Elon! Okay, just really ruined. I mean, not that Twitter was that great to begin with, to be perfectly honest. It had a lot of problems, but it's a lot worse now. Anyway, so if you listen to that, let me know. I'd be curious to hear. I said how I did. I can't listen. I watch my videos back sometimes because I have to, but a podcast stuff I can't listen back to. I don't know why. Okay, so I wanted to make that, and then future plans. So let's finish today. First of all, questions. Don't forget the time. Yes, 12:15. It's okay. I'm barely. Let me just check my phone. Make sure there's no the kitchen is on fire kind of messages. I mean, I think I would have heard about that through other ways. Time to revive the Mastodon server. Yeah. So, boy, I'm tired. So let's talk about future plans. I have this running list that Deepamsem started. At least it's still 2023. Simon I don't know if Simon's still watching, but Simon likes to point out how I make these lists and never follow up on them. But we're going to check some things off. So I did get to these challenges. I got to do, this is next on my list. So I'm hoping to get to this. Let's do these. I am doing a live stream. More nature of code. Okay, I can't check this off yet, but this soon will get a check. Once it's published, it'll get a check. I made a new video about the Coding Train website. I want to work on the software for the Severance TV show. It's called MDR, Macro Data Refinement, and the Oregon Trail. That's it. I'm only checking off one more thing. Almost checking this off. So this is my running list. Is there anything else I want to add to this? So what do I need to do next? So first of all, there won't be another live stream until at least kind of 2 weeks from now. I have a very busy next week is orientation at NYU, then I have the first week of teaching. So the next 2 weeks are completely packed for me. So I wanted to make sure we're really forgot the last minute here. Today was really like the last day I could do a live stream before I start the fall semester. So that's why I'm here today. Over the next 2 weeks before I do a next live stream, I want to finish the Nature of Code book, and finish and hopefully have at least released on Nebula the learning processing series. Those are the two priorities for me right now. Then I want to get back to this. And I guess I should star some things. Because let's star what I want to do next. So Discord bot tutorials have a star because I really want to do those next. P5.js tutorials I want to do next because I'm teaching Intro to P5 this fall. And the processing intro series will be done. I guess I could put a star there because I need to work on those. Nature of Code book. I could put ML5 there, but I can only star so many things. And then I want to make sure I'm continuing to do coding challenges. So Wolfram Elementary CA. And I think what I'm doing now, just so you know, is I'm not doing the coding challenges during my live streams, but I do broadcast the recording sessions for them. So that's one reason why you might want to sign up for any of the membership things. I will be posting about those in Discord. Okay, I think that's it. Starring those things, updating the gist. That's it. I have this song that I used forever as my like outro song. So I'm gonna let that play for about 2 minutes. If you have questions, post them in the chat or comments. Post them. P5 geometry. I don't know what that refers to, but it's probably something that I want to take a look at, so we can add that to the future goals for sure. So yeah, sorry, I've run out of steam here. I've been doing this for 14,623 seconds. This is my, wow, I really can't operate my time since launch, time since my first live stream back after turning 50 / first live stream where I talk about the draft and the Nature of Code book. I don't know. We need you in Python. Maybe someday. I mean, it would be fun to do like a series, like maybe I could just do this as a live stream of like kind of like a non-Python. I mean, this would be like a good clickbait sort of thing, like JavaScript programmer learns Python or something like that. I could do that as a one-off. I like that idea. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I really feel glad to have done. I mean, one thing that's looking at my analytics, like people still watch the coding train. You know, I haven't published anything new, I think since at least May. Can't remember when. Maybe the website video came out after then. Let's look. Still a minute left on my song here. Oh, I forgot. YouTube changed something. Oh no, there's no .com. Oh, by the way, we're working on a new logo. Rebrand for the coding train. There it is. We'll stuck that in there. You'll see it's here too. Little catchphrase. Traveling the wonderful world of code. Artisanal handcrafted code. That's my new catchphrase. Oh yeah, I gotta talk to Jason about that. Okay, but if you have ideas for a catchphrase or thoughts about this logo, let me know. Last thing, 2 months ago. So you can see the last video was 2 months ago. Before that was 4 months ago. The last live was 3 months ago. So very little stuff. If you look at my analytics, it's like less than half of what it usually is. So it's gone way down. So I really, it goes to show that you really need to keep fresh and new content online, but people are still watching the videos. So I'm pleased with that. Okay, do you ever want to post a video about more? So my song ran out, but I'm gonna look boutique code, if you will. Geometry, coding challenges, open frameworks, Arduino, gaming. Okay, so there's a bunch of questions, Lanza. Arduino, open frameworks, all things I would love to do on the channel. I have this list of things to get to. I don't know how to prioritize or what to, but absolutely those are things I would love to do. Probably not going to happen soon because I just have other things I want to get to. Do you ever want to post a video about more advanced stuff, ray tracing, sounds, this is different? Yeah, so I would like to do, if you look at my coding challenges, there is a fairly wide variety of things, some of which are quite quick and easy. Well, I'm looking at some more sophisticated, like the prime spiral, I would sort of maybe categorize as fairly beginner friendly. It's, very little code. Just to look at calculating prime numbers and draw this spiral pattern with them and note where they appear on the number line in a spiral. Whereas the wave function collapse algorithm is very sophisticated and involved, and this video is close to an hour long. The Mandelbulb is quite elaborate, sophisticated three-dimensional fractal. This video is, pretty long. So I like to do a balance. So it would be great. And thank you, Bruno, for your nice comments. Warjarazman666, sorry you missed the start. As soon as I hit stop, this will be available in the archive. So I'm going to go. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm just checking the Discord chat. Thanks, Alka. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thank you to all of you, the new people who joined the membership today, those of you who just watched. If you share things from the coding train on social media, if you contribute to the Passenger Showcase, if you read The Nature of Code, all those things support the work that I'm doing, and I really, really appreciate it. So you won't see me for at least another 2 weeks. This is what I was going to mention. The days, my teaching schedule is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Tuesday, I probably need to be doing a lot of prep. So this fall, Monday is probably my coding train day or a weekend live stream. But I think Monday is going to be better. So I hope to do either every week. What I would like to do is every week, assuming the Nature of Code book is done. So that really has to happen first. So there might not be anything till October 1st because that's my deadline for that. But as soon as the Nature of Code book is done, I would like to spend every Monday either live streaming or recording more video tutorials like Discord bot or coding challenges. So hold me to that, friends, in the Discord, and hold me to also the fact that the member sticker mailing should go out end of September, early October. Those are things that I am really hoping to do. And ask me about those, remind me about those, but be aware that I didn't allow myself to live stream until I had a full draft of the Nature of Code book, which I now have. I think I probably shouldn't allow myself to live stream until I have turned in the finished draft to the publisher. And the deadline for that is October 1st. Okay, goodbye everybody. Hope to see you again soon on social media, Discord, YouTube, all the places, the streets of New York City, the wilderness of the Hudson Valley. I don't have any travel plans anytime otherwise, so those are the places I'll be. Goodbye, and goodbye.
As always, I always forget the this dot.
I don't have a new out animation, so it's just going to be this.
I'm going to do this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm going to do this dot, this dot. I'm going to do dot, this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot song. This dot, this dot, this dot. Never forget this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot song. This dot, this dot, this dot. Never forget this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do dot, this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot song. This dot, this dot, this dot. Never forget this dot. This dot, this dot, this dot. Never forget this dot. I'm gonna do the this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot, the this dot song. Never forget the this dot. Somebody compose that song for me.
I'm going to say once again, here we go, sing it with me. It's the polar to Cartesian coordinate song. It's the polar to Cartesian coordinate song. Auto-tune and the internet will fix that for me. Sing it with me. It's the polar to Cartesian coordinate song. It's the polar to Cartesian coordinate song. It's the polar to Cartesian coordinate song. It's the polar to Cartesian coordinate song.
Unicorns and rainbows and cupcakes. What else is there? Yes, kittens. Thank you very much. Kittens and rainbows and cupcakes. Notice that. Look what I get. I'm really losing my mind. Okay, let's do it. Kittens and kittens and kittens and kittens, 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 kittens and kittens and kittens and kittens and kittens and kittens, 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 kittens and kittens and kittens and kittens. I feel just sort of like a nice feeling of ease. What else is there? Unicorns and rainbows and cupcakes. That was invalid syntax, I forgot. There was one other thing here that I think is important that I will use continuously over and over again in all sorts of text generation analysis things. That I will use continuously over and over again. First thing I need to do is, yes, kittens, kittens, kittens. I'm really losing my mind. Okay, we're gonna do it. Kittens and kittens and kittens and kittens, 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 kittens and kittens and kittens and Das Vidania.